Together, we're going to learn about the magic of the Brother 950 electronic knitting machine. With this machine, you can create anything, clothes in all shapes and sizes, in rainbow colours, patterned or ferrule. You can simply follow the patterns in the book or make up your own. Here to tell us all about the machine is Janet Nabney, an Englishwoman who's travelled the world demonstrating knitting machines. She worked for several years in the States and she knows all there is to know about the Brother 950 electronic. Hello, Janet. Well, are you going to let us in on the secret of this incredible machine?
This machine certainly does have a lot of amazing possibilities, and providing you push the right buttons to tell the computer what to do, the machine takes all the hard work out of knitting for you. There are 550 stitch patterns that live on a chip in the body of the machine. And you can turn the machine off and on again, and it remembers exactly what you've told it. You can knit the patterns exactly as they appear in your Stitch World book, or you can knit a small section of them, or you can ignore the book completely and knit a design that you've drawn out on the mylar sheet that comes with the machine. To help us in our instructional video, we've divided it up into 5 headlines. Simple patterning, advanced patterning, the pattern panel, making your own patterns, making your own patterns, and special features.
Well, it certainly sounds simple enough, but where on earth do we begin?
We turn the machine on and it says, hello, it's ready to start. The machine can be programmed in 2 different ways. We're going to start with simple patterning, so we're going to enter 990 when the ready light comes on. This tells the machine we want to knit the pattern exactly as it appears in the Stitch World book. We've chosen a simple all-over pattern to begin. Number 17. Right, now we're ready to start. We'll go through it from the beginning. The ready light is on, and we're going to enter 990. Remember, it's a simple pattern. Press the memory button and the 990 disappears. Press the memory button again, and the pattern number light comes on. We'll put the pattern selector switch down to the bottom, opposite the diagram of the garment with the all-over pattern. Enter 17, that's the number of the stitch pattern we want to knit, and press the memory button. The ready light comes on again, and we'll press CF just to make sure that the pattern starts knitting on row 1. Now we have to begin by taking the carriage outside the left-hand turn mark. Turn the change knob to KC1 and take the carriage across. That connects the pattern to the needles. Thread up the second colour yarn and tell the carriage you want to knit 2 colours in a row by pushing the multicolour button. Now we can knit our pattern. This is the reverse of your pattern knitting. When you are about to come to the end of your stitch pattern, the machine will tell you by making a loud beep. The numbers that appear in the panel window correspond to the row number of your stitch pattern. Your needles have been selected for the last row. You can knit this last row, and then you have the choice of turning off the pattern or continuing it, because the machine will automatically return to the beginning of the pattern. We've just knit the pattern all over the garment. This time we're going to knit only one repeat of the pattern as a single motif. We can place this single motif anywhere we like on the needle bed, but to help us, the needles have been numbered from 0 in the middle outwards. All the numbers on the left are orange, and all the numbers on the right are green. Our pattern is going to be 24 stitches wide, and we're going to put it this time right in the middle of our needle bed, and this is how we begin. The ready light comes on, press the memory button, the pattern number light comes on. Put the pattern selector switch up to the top opposite the garment with the 2 boats. Enter the number of our pattern, which is 17. Press the memory button. The light in the middle of the boats on the garment lights up. Our pattern is 24 stitches wide, and we're going to place it in the middle of our garment, so it's going to run from orange 12 to green 12. The machine is asking us now where we want the edge of our pattern, the first needle position of our motif. We want the edge of our pattern at the edge of our patterning needles, so we'll enter orange 12 and press the memory button. Now the machine has lit up again, and it's asking us where we want our patterning to begin. We want the patterning to begin on orange 12, enter and press the memory button. Now the light has lit up at the end of the boats. The machine's now asking us where we want the patterning to finish. We want the patterning to finish on green 12. Enter green 12 and press the memory button. The light in the panel has lit up saying 1. That means the machine's ready to begin knitting on row 1 of our stitch pattern. Now, we've used this pattern as an all-over pattern, and we've knitted it as a single motif just as it appears in our Stitch World book. With a bit of reprogramming, though, we can turn that diamond into a cross. To explain what I mean, it's easier to demonstrate with this. We want the edge of the pattern in the middle of our patterning needles. Let's knit it on the machine. When the ready light comes on, press the memory button and the pattern number lights up. Put the pattern selector switch up to the top for a single motif, enter our pattern number, 17, and press the memory button. The light between the boats on the garment comes on. The machine is asking us where we want the edge of our pattern, the first needle position. We want the edge of the pattern in the middle of our patterning needles, so we're going to enter green 1. Press the memory button, and the light at the left-hand edge of the boats comes on. The machine is asking us where we want our patterning to begin. Enter orange 12, press the memory button, the light at the right-hand edge of the boats comes on. The machine's asking us where we want the patterning to finish. Enter green 12 and press the memory button, and we're ready to begin knitting. And this is our cross.
But what if you want to knit 2 different patterns on each side of the jumper, say a cross on one side and a diamond on the other? How on earth do you do that?
Ah, well, that's not difficult. We'll put our diamond over here, we'll have the center 24 stitches knitting plain stocking stitch, and then we'll program separately motif B, the cross, to knit on this side of our garment. When the ready light comes on, press the memory button and the pattern number lights up. This time we're going to put the pattern selector switch to the middle, opposite the garment with the boat and the house. This means we want to knit motif A and B. We enter the pattern number, 17, and press the memory button. The light in the middle of the boats on the garment lights up. Our first pattern is 24 stitches wide and we want it on the left-hand side of our machine, from orange 36 to orange 13 inclusive. The light is asking us where we want the edge of our pattern. We're going to have the edge of our pattern at the edge of the patterning needles, so we'll enter orange 36 and press the memory button. Where do we want the pattern to begin? We'll enter orange 36, press the memory button, and where do we want the pattern to finish? We'll enter orange 13 and press the memory button. Right, that takes care of our first pattern. Now we want 24 stitches plain knitting in the center, and we have to tell the machine about the second pattern, the cross, on the other side of the knitting. The light in the middle of the houses has come on, and the machine is asking us where we want the edge of our pattern. If our pattern is 24 stitches wide, we'll have it from green 13 to green 36, leaving the central needles knitting plain stocking stitch. The edge of the pattern will be in the middle of the patterning needles, so we enter green 24, press the memory button, the machine lights up and it's asking us where we want the patterning to begin. Enter green 13 and press the memory button. The machine lights up again and asks us where do we want the patterning to finish. Enter green 36 and press the memory button. The ready light comes on, the machine is telling us it's ready to knit the pattern. There's our pattern, with a diamond on one side and the cross on the other. Well, Wendy, how is that? Have you been following the programming procedures?
I think I have, Janet. To sum up, you must remember to press the memory button after each command that you give the machine.
That's right.
And to follow logically what the machine is telling you logically. And if you follow the lights, then you really can't go wrong.
That's right. Every time a light comes on, you remember the machine is asking you a question. Now we're going to be a little bit more adventurous. We're going to knit a pattern from the Stitch World book, but we're going to alter it and we're only going to knit a small section of it, the leaf. To knit a more advanced pattern, you enter 999 when the ready light comes on. That's telling the machine you don't want to knit the whole pattern, but a small section of it. Pattern number light lights up and you put the selector switch at the bottom to make sure you're going to get your pattern all over. Enter 100. To tell the machine that's the number of the pattern in your Stitch World book. Press the memory button and the light at the bottom of the boat on the card comes up. Now the card represents your pattern as it appears in the Stitch World book, and the boat is that section of the pattern that you want to knit. The machine is asking you, what's the bottom line of your pattern? Now we go to the picture in our book. The pattern starts on row 1, but we want to knit the leaf. And that starts on row 31. So we'll enter 31, press the memory button. The top line, the leaf, finishes on row 40. Press the memory button. The machine is asking us how wide we want our stitch pattern. We'll have the leaf plus 2 stitches. So counting from the left, we'll start on stitch 6 and we'll finish on stitch 20. Press the memory button and the light in the middle of the 2 boats on the garment lights up. Even though we're knitting an all-over pattern, the machine still wants to know exactly where we want our leaf. We'll have it in the middle, so we'll start the leaf on orange 8. Press the memory button, the ready light comes on, and 31 appears in our panel. The machine is telling us it's ready to knit the pattern starting at row 31. When you're about to knit the last row of one complete repeat of the pattern, you heard that beep. The machine was telling you you're about to finish the row. So your needles have been selected for the last row. You begin to move the carriage across to knit this row. You'll see the number in the pattern window go back to 31. That's telling you the machine is ready to start on the first row of the pattern again. At this point, you can turn the pattern off, and that cancels your patterning buttons, and you can knit several rows of plain knitting, even though the needles have been selected. If you want to knit another row of leaves, but you want to move them down one, we have to press the memory button and the pattern number comes on, but we don't want to change any of the information we've put in before until we get to the light in the middle of the boats on the garment. It says orange 8, but if we want to move the leaves down a bit, we have to reprogram this. We'll enter green 1, press the memory button, press CF to make absolutely sure we're going to start on row 1 of the pattern and we're ready to begin again. Turn the knob. There's our pattern.
So when you alter a pattern, what are the main points you have to remember?
Well, really, basically, what you have to start off with is you have to count the stitches on your graph very carefully. Then you have to decide exactly where you want this pattern on your needle bed, so you have to count the needle bed stitches. Then you have to decide where you want the edge of your pattern, that is the first needle position, so that you can put that in your program.
Fine, so what are you going to do now?
Well, now I thought I'd take one of the basic patterns from the Stitch World book, the cherries, and I'd knit only a small section of it as a single motif, placing it carefully on my needle bed. Let's have a big one in the middle with a little cherry on either side. The ready light comes on, enter 999 for advanced programming, and press the memory button. 999 disappears, press the memory button again, and the pattern number light comes on. We'll put the pattern selector switch up to the top, opposite the garment with the boats on it, to tell the machine we want to knit a single motif. We'll enter 100 to tell the machine which stitch pattern we want to use, and press the memory button. The light at the bottom of the boat on the card comes on. The machine's asking us on the picture, what's the bottom line of our graph? The bottom line is 1, press the memory button. The top light comes on. The machine is asking us where we want to finish our pattern. We'll finish at 14, press the memory button. The light at the left of the boats comes on, and the machine is asking us where on our graph we want to begin our patterning. We'll begin at stitch 1, press the memory button. The light at the right-hand side of the boat comes on, and the machine is asking us where we want to finish our pattern. We'll finish on stitch 20. Now, this pattern is 20 stitches wide, but remember we're going to add a small cherry, so we're going to need another 8 stitches for this little cherry, so the pattern has to go over 28 stitches. We've decided to put it in the middle of our garment this time, so we'll have it run from orange 14 to green 14. And because the little cherry is the beginning of the pattern, that's where the pattern will begin, at the beginning of the patterning needles. Press the memory button and the light between the two boats comes on. The machine's asking us where we want the edge of our motif. We'll have it at the edge of the patterning needles. Enter orange 14, press the memory button, and the light at the left-hand side of the boat comes on. The machine's asking us where we want the patterning on our needles to begin. Orange 14, press the memory button. The light at the right-hand side of the boat comes on, and the machine is asking us where we want our needles to stop patterning. Green 14, press the memory button, and the ready light comes on, and the machine says it's ready to begin knitting the pattern on row 1. We put the change knob to KC2 because we're going to knit a single motif. And here's a sample of our single motif. Well, we've just knit a single motif with a little cherry, big cherry, little cherry. Now let's shuffle them around a little bit and we'll knit another single motif, but this time we'll change the order of the cherries. We'll have a big cherry on the outside, then a little cherry, and finish with another big cherry. We'll start our programming. The ready light is on. Enter 999. Press the memory button until the pattern number light comes on. Put the pattern selector switch up to the top opposite the garment with the two boats on it. Enter the number of our stitch pattern, 100. Press the memory button. The light on the bottom of the boat on the card comes on. The machine's asking us, where's the bottom line of our pattern on the graph? The bottom line is 1. Press the memory button. The light at the top of the boat comes on. The machine's asking us where on the graph we want to finish our pattern. Enter 14. Press the memory button. The light at the left of the boat comes on. The machine's asking us where we want the first stitch of our pattern to be on the graph. Enter 1. Press the memory button. The light at the right-hand edge of the boat comes on. The machine's asking us where on the graph we want to finish our patterning. Enter 20. Press the memory button. This time our motif is still 20 stitches wide, but we've added a big cherry, which is 12 stitches rather than the little cherry, which was 8. So we're going to need more needles for our motif. We're going to have to pattern across 32 needles this time. If we put our patterning in the middle of our needle bed, the patterning will run from orange 16 to green 16. The machine is asking us where we want the edge of our motif to begin, the first needle position. The edge of the graph is the little cherry, and we want to leave 12 stitches for a big cherry. So we'll start the repeat of the pattern. We'll put the edge of the pattern, the first needle position, at orange 4. Press the memory button, and the light at the left of the boat on the garments comes on. The machine asks us where we want the patterning needles to begin. We'll begin the patterning at orange 16. Press the memory button. The light at the right-hand edge of the boats on the garment comes on, and the machine is asking us where we want to finish our patterning. We'll enter green 16 and press the memory button, and the ready light comes on. The machine says it's ready to start our patterning on row 1. Turn the change knob to KC2 when you have the carriage outside the turn mark for a single motif. And there's a sample of our finished single motif. Now we'll use our pattern selector switch again, and we're going to knit 2 motifs separately this time. We'll knit one on the garment on the left and one on the garment on the right. We'll have 8 stitches in the middle, knitting plain stocking stitch. We'll use the same motifs we've just knit as single motifs. When the ready light comes on, enter 999 and press the memory button. Press the memory button until the pattern number light comes on, and move our pattern selector switch to the middle opposite the garment with the boat and the house. Enter the pattern number, 100, press the memory button, and the light at the bottom of the boat on the card comes on. The machine is asking us where on the graph we want our pattern to begin. We'll begin at row 1, press the memory button, the light at the top of the boat comes on. The machine's asking us what row do we want our pattern to finish on? We'll finish on 14. Press the memory button. The light at the left of the boat comes on. Where on our graph do we want the stitch pattern to begin? On stitch 1. Press the memory button. Where on the graph do we want it to end? Press 20 and the memory button. Now, you remember our first motif needed 28 stitches because we wanted a little cherry, which was 8 stitches, along with the 20 stitches we needed for the motif. If the pattern is on the left-hand side of our garment, it will run from orange 32 to orange 5, leaving the central 8 stitches plain. Where is the edge of our motif? The edge of our motif is at the edge of our patterning needles, so when the light between the boats on the garment comes on, asking us what the first needle position is, we'll enter orange 32. Press the memory button. The light at the left of the boats comes on and the machine's asking us where we want our needles to start patterning. Orange 32. Press the memory button. The light at the right edge of the boats comes on. Where do we want the needles to stop this pattern? We'll have it stop at orange 5. Press the memory button. Now we move on to the second card with the boat and the house. The light at the left of the house has come on and the machine is asking us on the graph, where do we want our stitch pattern to begin? We'll have the same motif again, so we'll enter 1, press the memory button. Where do we want our motif to finish? We'll enter 20, press the memory button. Our second motif, if you remember, needed more needles because this time we had 2 big cherries with a little cherry. So we needed the 20 stitches for the motif plus 12 stitches for the big cherry. We'll have this pattern on the right side of our garment, starting from green 5 and ending at green 36. We want the edge of the motif, the edge of the little cherry, not at the edge of our patterning this time, because we've got to leave 12 stitches for our big cherry. So we'll have the edge of our pattern at green 17. Press the memory button. The light at the left of the houses on the garment lights up. The machine is asking us where we want our patterning to begin on the needle bed. We'll enter green 5. Press the memory button. Where do we want the patterning to end on the needle bed? We'll press green 36 and the memory button, and the ready light comes on. Number 1 appears in our pattern panel window. The machine's telling us it's ready to start knitting the pattern at row 1. Turn the change knob to KC2 when you've taken the carriage outside the turn mark. Here's a sample of our knitting pattern. We've just used our pattern selector switch to knit 2 separate motifs on our garment, one on the left and one on the right. We're going to use the pattern selector switch again, but this time we're going to have a different second motif. We'll do away with the small cherries entirely and we'll just knit 2 big cherries. We'll have a small part of our graph as we see it in the Stitch World book. The ready light comes on, we'll enter 999.